Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another list for February. This one is going to be a list of romance novels that I have enjoyed. The first one on this list is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This one I read last year, and this one was fantastic. This one is probably my favorite of her stories. This one is part of the Part of Your World companion series. So if you're a stickler for reading things in order, you got to start with Part of Your World. But this one, we are following Emma and Justin, and they end up meeting on Reddit. Justin had a post on Reddit that he posted about, am I the asshole because of XYZ? And he gave this whole story about him and his friend. And it gave details of how he will date a girl, and then the very next guy that she dates, they end up getting married. And Emma has the same thing happen to her. So she commented on it and they started talking back and forth. And they decided to date in order to balance out their bad luck and see if the next person they date, they ended up marrying. We are also following Justin through his family dynamics and his relationship conflicts with his mom and the decisions that she has made and how that has affected him and his siblings. And on Emma's side, we are dealing with the fact that she grew up in foster care and her mom has been in and out of her life. Her mom's a bit of a mess. Her mom isn't physically able to maintain relationships, and Emma takes the brunt of that. And so her and Justin are dealing with their own relationship dynamics in their personal lives, as well as trying to balance out each other and dealing with the fact that they're starting to fall for each other, but Emma is not capable at this point of sticking around for a long-term relationship because she doesn't want to become her mother. And so they're dealing with all of these hardships that are very real and very common things that people are dealing with nowadays. And I had the best time. Justin is a complete cinnamon roll. He is fantastic. I love him. And Emma, I really liked Emma a lot. I felt like she was fully fleshed out and her struggles were very realistic and not at all like a caricature of what mental health looks like. And Abby Jimenez did a fantastic job with this story. The next one on this list I've already talked about in previous lists, but it has to be on this list. This is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. In this one, we are following Carolina and Max. Carolina is attempting to climb the ladder at work, and she's been given this opportunity to work on this project that could make or break her career. The catch is that she has to work with either her ex-fiance, who left her at the altar, or work with his brother, who convinced him to leave her at the altar. And she ends up working with Max, who is the brother, and they bicker back and forth and they can't stand each other. I mean, I wouldn't be able to stand him either after everything that happened. And I love this so much. I really need to reread this one. It was a great time. I loved their back and forth. I loved the slow burn of going from enemies to lovers and the family dynamics and the relationship dynamics that come with this kind of story that has all these layers. Because how do you go to your friend and be like, I kind of like the dude who convinced my fiance to leave me at the altar? Like, your friends would run you out of town, you know? And so having to deal with that and just getting over the fact that he did this to her, it was so much fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The next one on this list is High Risk Rookie by Odette Stone. In this one, we are following Krista and Levi. Krista is a sports agent, and she goes down to Mexico to sign Levi to come play hockey for the Vancouver Wolves. While she is down there trying to get him to agree to come to Vancouver for a tryout, they end up getting drugged and married. And that's a really bad PR look. So they have to keep it on the down low while they work on getting annulment. And he goes to Vancouver. He's having his tryout and he's dealing with the fact that other people have a really hard time with him being there and they don't want him there. So he's being sabotaged at every turn. Krista's having to deal with her family, who are horrible people, and her ex, who is trying to yeah, his, he's trying to force his way back into her life. Meanwhile, he is engaged to her sister. Like, what are you doing? And her family sides with him at every turn, and so she's dealing with that. On top of the fact that she's having to deal with Levi, and he does not like talk to her at all. She's like, "Hey, you good? Whatever," and he doesn't check in with her. And actually, at the start, she's not even checking in with him because she's so weirded out by the fact that they're married. And it's just so much fun. They have a great dynamic, and I love Levi. He's the kind of toxic that I would be all for, okay? He makes some choices when he feels that Krista is being disrespected by a male, and so Levi intervenes. And it is so much fun. Like, I enjoy like that kind of dynamic. It's a good time. Another Odette Stone book that is also a Vancouver Wolves story is Home Game. This one, we are following Ryan and Zoe. Ryan is a hockey player and Zoe is homeless. She ends up meeting Ryan in a coffee shop. He's attempting to do his taxes and he is struggling. So Zoe ends up helping him, but then she ends up missing her ride to the homeless shelter. So then she ends up being late and she can't get in. Well, Ryan, being a nice dude, he offers to let her stay with him for the night. And she does, and he ends up giving her his card. And when she gets beat up on the street and she's blacked out and the doctors don't know who she is, they end up seeing Ryan's card and they call him to come get her. And that's how Zoe ends up living with Ryan. Ryan wants to help. He wants to help her get back on her feet and is okay with her staying there until she's able to live on her own. Well, Zoe is like, I'm not taking charity. I'm going to pay you back. She's keeping a list of everything he buys her. And she ends up learning how to deal with real life and learning how to be on her own 2 feet. And they're dealing with the power dynamic between him helping her and her taking help, and then her like owing him and like seeing him as her knight in shining armor, right? And so I love the fact that this story tackles that kind of topic because you see it all the time where one person comes in and kind of rescues the other. And so now they're like hero worshipped, right? And so I love the fact that this one actually dives into that as the theme of the story. And of course, Zoe and Ryan have a great relationship. Their banter is fantastic and she takes no crap and it's a great time. The next one on this list is another Mia Sosa, and that is The Wedding Crasher. This one, we're following Solange, and she is helping her cousin plan this wedding and run this wedding on the wedding day, right? Well, she overhears the bride telling another dude that she loves him and wants to be with him, but she's going to go through with the wedding anyways. Well, Solange decides that when the priest says, "Does anyone object?" she's going to object. And so she ends up ruining this dude's wedding, right? So Dean, having had his wedding ruined, he talks to Solange and gets her to agree to be his fake girlfriend in order to impress his bosses and his the partners at work, because he is trying to secure a higher level job, but they want to know that he is serious and he's settled and stable, and they want to see him in a long-term relationship. And so Solange comes in and pretends to be that long-term relationship. And I love a fake dating romance. And Mia Sosa does a really good job with her characters and her stories. And they just feel so real and believable. Actually, she reminds me a lot of Lynn Painter. So I think if you really like Lynn Painter, you would really like some of these too. Speaking of Lynn Painter, the next one on this list is Accidentally Amy by Lynn Painter. This one, we are following Isabella. And she is on her way to her first day at her job, right? Well, she's standing in line at the coffee shop and it's taking forever. And she ordered a pumpkin spice latte. And the girl at the counter is calling for someone who also ordered a pumpkin spice latte. Well, that person isn't coming to claim their coffee. So she just takes it. And the guy behind her, she like turns and bumps into him. And so he thinks that her name is Amy. And she plays it off, and she ends up going to work that day. And the guy that she bumped into, the guy who thinks her name is Amy, is her boss. So now she has to deal with the fact that her boss, Blake, thinks that her name is Amy, and she has to figure out how to navigate the situation because she can either be a liar or be a thief. And so it's so much fun. They have such a great dynamic, and it is a bit of an awkward dynamic just because he is her boss. Now, he is not like directly over her. She reports to somebody else, and he's like the owner of the company type boss, but it's still a little bit awkward. But they do have a lot of conversations about that kind of thing and trying to avoid that power dynamic, and they really start as friends because of that. But I really loved Amy's personality. Think Lorelai Gilmore. It was so much fun. I loved it. I love people with personalities like this. I am very, very opposite of that. I'm very calm. Like, this is how I am all the time, unless I'm like excited about something and then I'm like, oh my gosh. But for the most part, this is pretty much how I am all the time. The next one on this list is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. In this one, we are following Bree and Jacob. They work at the hospital together. Bree has worked there a long time, and Jacob is the newcomer. And Bree is trying to get this lead role, and everyone of the nurses around them are talking about Jacob getting it and Jacob wanting it and all these things. And so she's a little bit mad at Jacob about that, and they end up having a moment where they meet where it didn't go very well. And so she doesn't like him because of that. And he ends up writing a letter saying that he's sorry and that he does a lot better in letters versus in person because he has a lot of anxiety that he deals with. They end up writing several letters back and forth and becoming friends through these letters. Well, Jacob gets Bree to pretend to be his girlfriend, go to these family functions with him, and give him somebody to sort of lean on at these family functions because he gets really overwhelmed and wanting to leave. And so by having her there, he's able to have a way out and it not be awkward or not be hard on him. Meanwhile, Bree is also dealing with the fact that her brother is really sick and she's having to deal with feeling out of control and unable to help. And Abby Jimenez does a great job with her stories and having something a lot deeper than just the romance within each of her stories. And Yours Truly is one of the best. Now, my very first Abby Jimenez was The Friend Zone. We were following Kristen and Josh, and I loved this from the onset. Like, I think their meet cute is that he backs into her vehicle or like rear ends her or something like that. Like, they get into some sort of fender bender. And it was so funny because she gives him hell for it. But then she finds out that her friend is getting married and Josh is the best man and she is the maid of honor. So they end up having to spend a lot of time together and they end up becoming best friends. She also does have a boyfriend, and that's a big part of why they are just friends starting out. Josh is super great with her. He can like read her very well and understands her needs and everything that she has gone through, and he just knows like I need to bring food whenever I come see her because she's going to be needing to eat because she's going to be angry, right? And so he like understands those things. They start hitting it off and it starts growing romantically. She does not cheat, by the way. She has a giant secret of she's going to have surgery in order to deal with some medical stuff that she has going on. But that's going to take away her ability to have a family. And she really wants a family, but she knows that it's not going to be medically possible for her to have a family because of the fact that she has to have this surgery. Josh desperately wants a family, like a big family, and he wants like biological children. And so Kristen knows that he's going to be better off dating somebody else because she can't give him what he's looking for. But it's tough to let him go. And I just love this so much. This was my first Abby Jimenez, and I just flew through it. This one was so much fun, and I think I read this in like 2020, maybe 2021, and I still think about this book. The final Abby Jimenez book on this list is the Happy Ever After playlist. We are following Sloan and Jason. Sloan ends up having this dog jump into her vehicle, and he doesn't have any owner looking for him or anything. And so Sloan takes him home, and she has him for a few weeks, and she loves him. She's not been herself lately. She's been dealing with a lot of things happening in her personal life, and this dog has really helped bring her back to who she used to be. She gets a call saying that the owner of the dog has been in Australia touring for the last several weeks, and he wants his dog back. But Sloan is not going to go down without a fight. They start talking, and he goes on tour quite a bit. So she ends up being able to like dog sit and be able to make sure that Jason is going to be good to the dog, right? Because she feels like you left him for weeks, so you must not care about him. Well, they end up becoming good friends, and this romance blossoms. But Jason's music career is on the rise, and so Sloan is like, are you really going to stick around? Can I really trust you to be dependable and not break my heart? Because she's already had her heart broken before, and she doesn't want to go through it again, which can't blame her. And then the last book on this list is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This one, we're following Grace and Logan. Logan is a college hockey player, and Grace is the girl that he has a one night stand with. And I love their dynamic because they ended up meeting because I think he was looking for some girl, and she was at home in her dorm, and he knocks on the door, and she's watching a movie, and he's like, I love this movie. And they end up watching the movie together and then hooking up. Like, what kind of meet cute is that? Right. So I loved that. Well, he ends up screwing up. And so she gets mad at him. And so then Logan realizes that he actually does like her and actually wants to be with her. But now he's got to earn it. And she makes him earn it. And it is so much fun watching him earn it and watching him prove that he messed up, but he's not a bad guy. And everyone hates this one. Everyone loves the first one so much more. This is the Off Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and this is book 2. And I love this one so much more. And I don't even know why. I think maybe I just like Logan and Grace a little bit more than I do Garrett and Hannah. But honestly, any of the books in this series are great. Honestly, any of the books in the series are great. And you're not going to go wrong with whichever one you pick up. And you don't even have to read these in order. There are slight spoilers for like who gets coupled up if you don't read them in order, but it's not always a big deal. I just realized that this list is pretty much all the same authors. There are 10 books on here and 5 authors. I repeated a lot on this list, but you know what? When I find an author who writes a really good romance, I tend to try and keep reading more of their stuff because they're tried and true. You know, I'm a little bit picky about my romances. Like, I will read them, but I won't love them. Like, they have to be a certain way for me to love them. And these authors are just great. They cannot miss. But that's the list for today. Which of these have you read? Do you have any romances that you swear by? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.